Okay, number 3 is picking single notes. This might sound a bit obvious, or a bit like, oh yeah, it's just picking notes. But it is something people struggle with. If you're just coming from sort of playing chords and stuff, and then it's time to get into the world of soloing or playing melodies and stuff, the picking thing can throw people. I think about the right hand, the picking or strumming hand, having 2 basic states of being, if you like. One is strumming mode. So that means that there is space here. So underneath the palm and the wrist, there is space, because there has to be space to let a chord ring. So I'm kind of hovering now, there's a gap there. Like that. I'm going to change chord, we've had a lot of G. Spice it up with an F. So there's space here. And then the other mode is like picking mode, if you like. Now, what that is resting somewhere, depending on what you're doing, in order to facilitate what is quite a small and accurate thing to do, really. So strumming mode will be here. Then if I was picking, I kind of rest a little bit somewhere, either on the strings that I'm not using, or if I'm playing the E string, maybe somewhere around here on the bridge, in order to facilitate that very small movement. So tip for this is you'll see a lot of this kind of thing for picking exercises, which are great. A lot of the time I'll start on the low E string. What I would do is I'll start on the high E string, because then you can rest on all the strings that you aren't using and get used to that idea of resting to create stability. Whereas if you start on the E string, it can be a bit like, oh, where do I put my hand? If you do an exercise like that, or you haven't done them, basically what's going on, I'm starting on the 5th fret and I'm going 1 finger per fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. 4 fingers, 4 frets. And then I'm picking down, up. So, like that, down, up. And then you move it to the next string, down, up, and the next string. But what's going on over here is this hand will start about here for the E string, and then every time I move up a string, it just nudges back like that. And it's more likely that this position, when you get to the E string, will be a natural occurrence than if you start on that side. So play around with that. One tip is, say I'm on the B string, imagine you are holding a pen, and imagine you're going to write your name on the B string, and the tip of the pick is kind of like the pen. So when people write, they will rest their hand. I mean, I don't know anyone, probably someone out there writes like this, like an absolute caveman, but you want to rest like that to, again, facilitate a small, accurate movement. I would rest my hand here. Imagine I'm going to write on the B string. Imagine you're going to write there like that, and you don't even have to start with an exercise, you can just literally pick a note. Small movement like that, all from the wrist. My arm is not moving at all now. One exercise you can do is, and this ties in with the strumming thing actually, it's the same mentality. If I was going to play on the beat, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. If I was going to do 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That would be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. With a little accent at the beginning of each bar. Like that. Then if you did 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Same rules as the strumming, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then if you take that into 16th note triplets, there's no way I could do that if I didn't have this rest. If you get that hover motion, you're more likely to use your arm, you're going to get this. And that does 2 things. One, it's uneven, because it's all over the place. It's not, you're not resting, and it's kind of, rhythmically it's not going to be even, and dynamically it's not going to be even. And the other thing is, you end up with recoil doing that way. Like if I'm not touching the guitar and I've got this hover and I pick, that doesn't look far from the string that I need, but musically that's like a 2-day camel ride away. Whereas if I pick here, there's no recoil. I've stopped right in between the B string and the E string. Like that, as opposed to this. And the other thing with that is you're going to end up hitting other strings because it's not as accurate. And because you're not resting, those other strings will ring. If you're in this position and you're resting, if you accidentally hit another string, it doesn't matter, they're muted out. You can still get to the beat, but these are muted out. So if you're playing with any sort of gain, that's the thing you want to get into, because any little noise will be amplified. Same mentality as the strumming, so same rhythmic kind of thing. So if you did something that went da 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 da, and you were playing the notes, that would be the same as strumming. I would go down, up, 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 down. Personally, some other people might do it different, and there's always exceptions to the rule. And then to put notes to that, probably do something like that. Da 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 da. It's going to help you stay in time a lot easier, and it's going to keep you in the grid, if you like. Obviously, when you start adding triplets and things and start having hammer-ons and pull-offs and legato and all sorts of things, it does change. But if you're just trying to get the picking thing down, that's a good place to start. Alternate pick as much as you can. Try not to do just to do downs or just do ups. Make sure you're resting. Think about, writing your name on a string. And then if you're going to do any sort of exercises or you want to try those, start on the high E string and get used to this sort of resting motion like that. That's the picking thing. Hopefully that helps. On to the next one.